Do you often use maps? Yep, I often use e-maps on my phone whenever I go somewhere unfamiliar or go traveling. It's very user-friendly. I just need to follow its instructions and it will get me to the destinations. I'm not afraid of getting lost anymore. Do you use paper maps? Well, I do have paper maps at home, but not for navigation. I mean, I have them for learning the geography. Like I have got a world atlas at home, and I will check out each country on the map and just, imagine when I could travel there. How often do you use maps on your phone? Well, not very often, only when I go to another city or another country. Other than that, I don't need maps in the city where I live, right? Because I'm pretty much familiar with the places I have to go every day. Do you have maps at home? Well, yeah, I have a piece of Chinese map hanging on the wall in my bedroom. My mom bought it for me when I was a student, and this map was for me to remember some of the geographic terms that I learned at school.
Do you often use maps? Oh yeah, absolutely. I frequently use maps to navigate new places. I find them incredibly helpful in finding my way around unfamiliar areas, and they also provide me with important information such as real-time traffic updates, public transportation options, and so on. And question number 2, how often do you use maps on your phone? Well, I would say that I use maps on my phone quite frequently because Shanghai is still an unfamiliar city to me, so my life relies heavily on navigation, and without it, I can barely go anywhere. Question number 3, do you think paper maps are still necessary? Oh yeah, in my opinion, yes, but only in certain situations. But even though digital maps have become increasingly popular and convenient, I believe there are still some situations where a physical map is simply more reliable. For example, especially in places where mobile data is not reliable or where a phone is about to run out of battery, it is simply hard to rely on digital maps in this way.
Do you often use a map on your phone? How often? Yeah, I use the map app on my phone all the time, probably a few times a week at least. It's just so convenient to pull up a map on my phone whenever I need directions or want to check out how long it'll take to get somewhere. I use it a ton when I'm driving somewhere new or if I'm meeting friends and not totally sure how to get to the restaurant or bar we're going to. The GPS on my phone just makes getting around and figuring out where I am so much easier. I honestly don't know how we managed without smartphone maps and GPS before. Have you ever used a paper map? Oh yeah, I've definitely used paper maps before, but not as much anymore since I rely on map app on my phone. When I was a kid, we used paper maps all the time for road trips and vacations. My dad would insist on having a big road map to spread out on his lap while he drove. I remember using paper maps a lot when I traveled abroad too, before international data was really a thing on cell phones. I'd pick up a map at a hotel or a train station so I could navigate around like European cities as a student. But nowadays, I almost exclusively use digital maps on my phone. Do you find it easy to read maps? For the most part, yes, I find reading maps pretty easy and intuitive. I think I have a decent sense of direction and spatial orientation. Reading basic road maps or subway maps doesn't give me much trouble. I can quickly find where I am and trace out a route to where I need to go. Now with digital maps and GPS like Google Maps, it's even easier since I can just type in an address and follow the directions. The only time I struggle a bit with maps is if they're super complex, large-scale topographical maps with lots of elevation markers and landscape features. Like if I'm out hiking and trying to follow a trail map, all the contour lines and the tiny details can get a bit confusing. But for the most part, especially in everyday situations like navigating a city, I don't have any issues reading and understanding maps. Have you ever put a map on the wall in your home when you were a kid? Yes, I definitely had maps on the walls in my home growing up as a kid. I was always really into geography, maps, and learning about different places around the world. So from an early age, I had this big, colorful map of the world posted up on my bedroom wall. I used to spend hours just staring at it, tracing my finger over different countries and continents. I loved imagining what all these faraway places were like. I also had a big map of China that I could look at to see where different provinces and cities were located.